guys, this is Coach Ben, small arm leg strong, and this is the Benchas. Thanks for joining in. It is a hot and humid day. We just got some rain this morning.
We had thunderstorms all night.
And things are going to heat up big time. And it is just melting this freaking rain away. And I am sweating.
It is steamy in here.
We are in the garage HQ and we are sweating. But we're taking one for the team. We're going to get a great bench cast in. Today we're talking about training motivation. What motivates you in your training? Getting real deep with it. Like, why do you train? And going through periods where you're not quite as motivated sometimes. And I guess that's where we start. So, especially in the winter, I find it real tough to stay motivated in my training. But like I tell everyone, if you're listening to this, maybe you're really motivated for a specific goal right now, maybe a specific meet. You know, maybe right now you're going through one of those tough times where you're not quite as motivated to get to the gym for whatever reason. And everyone goes in and out of it. And what I tell people is that's all right. All right, you got to accept that you're going to go in and out of motivation with your training. You know, you can't bring it. You can't jump on Team Bring It 100 days, you know, or whatever the hell. How many days in a year? 365, 24/7, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be ready to kill it all that time. And if you are, you're lying, all right, because no one is ready to just hammer it every single day all year long. That rarely happens. There's a lot of days, whether we express it or not, that we just don't want to show up to train. All right, and the biggest thing I tell people when that happens, just show up. Showing up is the biggest thing. If you stop showing up, especially in a time where you're not very motivated, that's the quickest way to kill your progress, the quickest way to start skipping sessions, quickest way to unravel, stop training altogether, backpedal.
If you only train when you're motivated to go, you're not going to train very often.
No. Yeah, you got to show up, guys. So if you're going through that period for whatever reason, you got to show up. Got to show up and you got to train. We have a couple lifters that I know on our team that are going through that right now. We have one lady that's getting ready for New York City Marathon, and that's her goal. You know, her goal is not to get into a meet or do anything now. It's just to run this race. So she's just kind of going through the motions, trying to stay strong, keep the strength that she does have. She's trying to, you know, stay motivated in her training because that's not necessarily her goal, but she wants to keep that strength. She still wants to be a proficient lifter, but right now she's just in a really tough, intense training period for this really big run. So backpedaling the days a little bit, I'd say, I tell her all the time, just show up, get the work in. You know, even if you're just at the gym and it's not a good session, at least you were there, and that's really, really important.
It's definitely especially hard when your goal isn't strength related. Yeah,
exactly. If you're training for a specific thing or event, you know, training for us, that's it. You know, we survive by our training. Like the numbers we hit at the meet, you know, that's our sport.
Our training is our practice for our meet.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, whereas other people, they, like a football player, they're going to train to get better, to train for their sport.
Exactly.
So to speak. So now you're doing this double training thing going on. All right, we training for us is actually the sport. So it's easy for a power lifter more or less. But a lot of times it's really hard for an athlete too. It's just kind of another step in the progress. But understanding that you're going to float in and out of motivational periods is important to understand. And just accept it for what it is and just showing up when you can. And if that lasts a month, 2 months, 3 months, it is what it is.
So now you just got to ride that wave.
Yeah, you do. And you'll get back on, you know, for whatever reason. You'll find it again. You'll get back on. You'll get hungry again. It's not all lost. You know, you'll go through those phases. Did you ever go through a phase where you just did not want to show up to the gym?
Oh, man, all the time. You call that today for me.
Yeah. But you showed up anyway?
Showed up, you know, put in as much as I could put in.
What's like your longest streak where you just did not feel like training, maybe even fell off the bandwagon for a bit?
Oh, man, I fell off the bandwagon for like a year and a half. That was real bad.
So you were training consistent, and then it just kind of went away.
Training consistently, ended up getting knee surgery, and ended up
so
not being
injury.
not being able to do
That's a
anything
big
for a
one.
month, and then it kind of just downward spiral.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That was rough.
That's tough because now you can't even do the things you normally would do in the gym.
Exactly. So you go into the gym and just kind of makes you sad.
Yeah, because you can't do the things you want, and you gotta. Even for that, it's like you gotta keep showing up. If you don't,
Yep.
that's what happens.
And then
Do what you can.
the worst part is after you feel better, it's like now you think of all the training time you lost.
Yeah.
And then that's a double
Yeah,
whammy.
and then you're not quite near the lifts that you were.
Yep.
Injury's probably the toughest thing. Life factors second. A lot of times life just kind of kicks you in the balls, and then kind of really kills your motivation to get to the gym.
I think a good thing for a lot of people is that to balance your stress. So if you do have a lot of lifestyle stress for some reason, like let's say you just had a new baby or some family illness or anything, is to go to the gym and maybe understand that you're not going to be able to push as hard as you can when you don't have all the rest of that stress.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. When training shifts from something you enjoy to a chore, that's when it becomes really tough. You see, I was putting up our new DVD. We got these things in. We got them ready to ship out. We're having a great sale. If you can jump on right now the website, you're going to get a couple free products with that. But filmed the whole bench clinic. It was awesome. So, yeah, just when training becomes a chore, it's really tough. I'll tell you what my hardest thing was as soon as I became a coach and started doing this full time, that's when training really kind of shot the shit. The motivation. Training went well, and the motivation was not there. Just because when you're at the gym all day, coaching lifters, being around the environment, quickly the last thing you want to do is just spend more time in the same spot, doing your training. You know what I mean? That's the quickest way. It's like whenever you start doing anything, you get involved with anything that was more of a hobby, you start to kind of lose that focus for it.
Oh, it's huge. I know a lot of trainers that work at big box gyms, and they have a separate gym membership. Even though they get a free gym there,
you gotta change locations.
Change the environment.
Yeah, you have to change environment. I tell you, it was really, really tough for me for a while, just motivation, because, the last thing I wanted to do is just continue to do what I was already doing. You know what I mean? So that was a really tough time for me. Whereas in the past, motivation was sky high. Like, during the day when I was at a different job doing something, I was at a golf course for a long time, and I was just kind of sitting there on the mower, and you had all this time to reflect, and all that was going through my mind was what the hell was going to happen in training that night, how I can get better, listening to everything I could do to get better, be a better lifter. And now the focus is entirely different. It's about what I can do to get my athletes better, inflict a positive influence on more people. My training's kind of taking a backside, which is definitely handicapping me hardcore.
Yeah.
You talk to some of the best lifters ever to do it. That they live and breathe their training, and they usually aren't coaching to a large degree. They're just focused on training only. Talk to any of the top guys, usually that's the case. So they have jobs that have nothing to do with training. You know what I mean? So
try to avoid it so they have that new environment.
Yeah, so that absolutely handicaps what my potential could be. And I understand that, but my focus is a little bit different. But I don't know, what would be your advice to someone right now? Maybe they're injured, they're kind of on the couch, they're not getting to the gym as often as they want, they're kind of wavering in and out of their training.
I think the most important thing you do is schedule it in advance. So it becomes less of a motivating factor, and it becomes part of your daily routine. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. You could just say every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, this is what I do, and you show up to the gym.
Yeah, developing a routine is big. That was something. I went through a real tough period where I had no one to train with, totally new gym environment, and I just did not want to get my training because I was learning single ply at the time. And that alone is a huge bitch because you need people around. I didn't know anyone there. I'm all alone. And I want to be good at single ply gear, but I had no one. So that was really tough for me. But I would find if I didn't schedule in advance, if I didn't say, hey, I'm going to frickin' be at the gym 5 p.m., then I wasn't going to do it. You can see 4:30 starts creeping around. You're like, oh, it's almost time to get going. You catch a TV show here or there. You start making food, whatever. You're like, oh, I didn't eat yet. And then before you know it, 6:30 rolls by. You're like, shit, still didn't get going here. And then you're like, F it, I'll do it again some other day.
Oh, man.
It never happens.
Back when I was younger, I used to have that time because I had a magic time to go at the gym. It was, if I'm there between 10 and 11, I have to be there at 10, I have to be there at 11. I can't go 10:30. Has to be one of the two. If I miss that, then what am I doing? I just don't go for the day. Oh, that was rough.
Yeah. No, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big suggestion. What's a period where you were just hardcore motivated and you would do anything it took to train?
Oh, man, it was crazy because I remember just being so singularly focused at the gym. It was actually leading up to that knee surgery. So I was like, I'm getting knee surgery, so if I blow my knee out now, it doesn't even matter.
It's a good thought process.
So I'm like, I can't do any more damage to my knee, realistically.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, so let's really crank everything up. Let's really push the intensity. All I thought about was my training. Like literally 2 days before a squat day, I'd be thinking about squatting. The whole week I'd be thinking about deadlifting. And sometimes I would bench. But it was phenomenal. I was just like so singularly focused. I had the most strength gains for those 3 months because I had my knee surgery planned out 3 months in advance.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's not even programmed sometimes. It's just intensity you bring to your training.
Oh, that's huge.
Absolutely. The intensity you bring to a session by far outweighs any other variable that you could ever imagine. Programming could be on point. You could get strong. I'm as a coach too, I say this. You could pretty much get strong in any program if you work it right, but the intensity has to be there. The intent to train hard needs to be there for that day.
Yep.
I remember when two periods as of recent memory that I was just spot on. Like, I just got to it. I remember I was starting to work at the gym early mornings, like a 5 a.m. class or something. And I would do that all morning. I'd come home. I was slinging chicken. All right, that's not code for anything. I was just delivering chicken. I was out there in the car delivering chicken all day. And I didn't get home till like 10:30 at night sometimes. And I honestly did not have time to train, at least to a good degree, and like put in time. So I woke my ass up 4 a.m. Sometimes I'd get up early so I can get to the gym 4 a.m. and I would get my benching in because that was right after the Arnold Classic, in which I was a viewer. All right, I was a viewer. I saw the bench bash. I was like, shit, multiply benching up there on the big stage. I wanted to do that. So I was like, F it, I'm going to get in the gym 4 a.m. whenever I can get training in. Woke my ass up, limited sleep, got my ass to the gym 4 a.m. Did not feel tired because I was freaking amped to get my training and see my bench get better. And that was the biggest jump. I went from 510 single ply that fall to 600 multiply that April. So I remember the intensity was just there. The focus was just there. I was pounding out bench. I was doing crazy amounts of volume. I was killing accessories, getting up ass early, and I was just making it happen.
That's also a good way to make sure you get training in, doing it first thing in the morning. Because I used to open at Starbucks. And I don't know if you know what time that is, but that's being at work at 4:30.
Yeah.
So I would wake up at 2:40 to get to the gym by 3 to get an hour and a half in, shower and everything, get all training in before work. Because if I waited until after I left, it was a no-go.
Yeah, you're tired by then. The day's over. So, sometimes you just got to bust balls and get in and get it done early. And then you could go to bed early if you want. And then do it again. But also scheduling. I sound like I went in every single day at 4 o'clock and benched. I spread it out. And I was serious about that training time. So, you can't do that every day. You kind of burn out. Sometimes you got to sleep in a little bit and promote that recovery. But on those days I had to train, I was there. And I had a goal. It was because it was for a reason. It was for a goal. And then I remember training for full power multiply, and I was like at the Arnie, and I was like, this is great. I'm going to have competition and everything. I picked out my opponent. All right, I knew who I was up against. I saw the weight classes listed online. I was like, shit, I'm going to kick some ass. I was watching his lifts, and I was just motivated. I took out pictures. I would find pictures, a little creepy, I guess, but
so weird.
Then I'd put it there on the bench, and I'm like, I'm going to kick his ass. It's all good fun and spirit, but I'm just really competitive, so I needed that little boost, and I was freaking amped to train. And that was for deadlifts too. You know how much I hate deadlifts.
Oh, man.
Deadlift day, I'd come in, I'd pound all this pre-workout, I'd be amped all morning. I'm like, I'm going to take freaking 600 for a ride today. I'd have the picture there. I'm like, F this, I'm going to kick his ass. And I had to get my deadlift up. And training was just on point. I was just bringing it. Team bringing it. That's the only time I was squatting 7+, multiply, one dude around.
Oh, shit.
I did not give a shit back then. I was like, I don't care who's around. I'm going to make this shit happen. After that, though, I was like, F that. I ain't doing that anymore. But, yeah, I remember being super, super focused for that.
And that's a good one, having a long-term goal, like a meet. If it's,
Yeah.
3 or 4 months in advance, that'll definitely motivate your training. Because you know you're
absolutely.
working towards something.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to have the deeper rooting meaning for it, too. It wasn't just a meet. It was to be competitive. But I think more or less, I knew, like, my parents were going to be there. My dad helped me train when I was young, and I really wanted it. I want him to be there, see me on the stage. He's going to be proud of me there. So he's never seen me lift that type of weight in person. So I was like, not only am I going to get there, kick ass, win, but my dad's going to get to see it. That was really motivating for me. Because if it's just the meet, granted it's fun, but like you got to have a deeper rooted meaning. Like if you're a really good lifter, usually you're trying to leave a legacy. Whether you're planning on having a family or not, you want to leave a good legacy for your sons or whoever, or your daughters. But whoever comes after you, you want to leave that legacy. You want to be known as the best, and sometimes that's a motivating factor. But motivating factor is definitely a huge one. And it's usually really deep. But no one really thinks that deep, but there's an underlying cause. It's not just you want to do a meet. It's usually for a reason. We have anything coming in on the Instagram? I want everyone to drop below. If you're not watching on the Instagram live, I want you to drop below what's your motivation for training. I want you to think about it a little bit, and then I want you to drop it down below in the IG live.
So for Brian the Hulk Forbes, it's his kids, his wife, and his love of the bench press.
Absolutely. Yeah, Brian, I see him on Instagram. He loves benching. I love having him on the team because he loves benching. And he's a family man, he cares about his family. I see him with photos of his kids and stuff, and he's a great guy, and I'm sure he cares very much how he performs for his family. It's not just something for him, but he also had that the shoulder injury there, and he's like 90% disabled in his shoulder, and he's trying to overcome that and prove that that's not a limiting factor. He's trying to keep kicking ass and show that, despite those types of things, you can still kick some ass. And that's really awesome that he's being a leader, not only for his family, for other people in a position like that.
It's huge.
So that's huge. That's probably his motivator right there. Maybe he knows it or doesn't, but that's where I see him getting his motivation from. That's strong. That's good meaning.
And then Body by Bacon, the happy but probably unrealistic thought that if I do all my accessories, all the 4x12 and 3x20 sets, Coach Ben won't watch and will give me that Yoda quote he promised.
All right. Look up a Yoda quote right now for me, Elvis. I'm going to get this out of the way because he keeps bringing up this Yoda quote. This is going to be the Yoda quote. It's happening right now. Elvis, look me up a Yoda quote. Do you have one?
I have one.
What
How
is
do you
it?
not have one?
I don't know. Give me a Yoda quote.
It's
going down right now.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Do or do not. There's no try.
And if I'm wrong, someone's going to put me on blast.
Listen, I don't know a Yoda quote, but I don't know Yoda voice very well, but I'm going to try. Do or do not. What is it again? Trying to give you guys a Yoda quote here.
There is no try.
Do or do not. There is no try. There's the Yoda quote. Done.
Then Bjorn wants to know how much you guys bench.
How much you guys bench?
Yep.
You talking about me and Elvis? So I recently did 705 multiply, 415 raw.
Which means that's 900 combined over here.
How much you bench, Elvis?
Oh, man. An embarrassing amount. It's rough. I have video proof of me benching 255, and that's all I had to say.
All right. Hey, I used to do that too.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember benching 225 in the basement, getting 4, and I was freaking amped about that. Now I get 30-something. So, you just got to put in your time.
Yeah, but it's just the process.
So, anything else on training motivation?
No.
Well, you got any more take-home tips for them? Scheduling is a great one.
Scheduling is a great one.
Getting it done early, that's really big. getting it out of the way.
Another one is checking how the rest of your life is going.
Uh-huh.
Because sometimes people are like, nothing's happening for me at the gym, but their outside, like, life is just a complete mess. It's a wreck.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes fixing other things in your life will also help your training.
Yeah, that's true too. If you're having a rough go in your training, you might want to start looking at other factors other than the training or the training program itself. Like I said, a training program, you're pretty much going to be able to get strong on anything if the intensity's there, but so does the recovery, and the outside factors are usually a big limiter.
Yep.
And when people get so frustrated, they're like, oh, I'm switching coaches or I'm switching training programs, all this other stuff.
Meanwhile, they're not sleeping, they're not eating. And
yeah, there's a lot that goes into it beforehand, too. So while sometimes you do have to make training changes to accommodate what's going on in your life, but if you don't analyze what's going on in your life, then how are you expected to make those training modifications? Like the example I brought up, the lady we have training for the marathon. Her purpose is not to be in the gym 5 days a week, training balls out. It's to get ready for this marathon. She's got a lot of running, different training system. There's a whole different metabolic system working there. So the training needs to reflect that. All right, she can't be in the gym all that time. She's got to run like 15, 20 miles. That's a shit ton.
Yeah, that's a bunch.
So maybe 2 days in the gym just trying to maintain what she has right now. You can't really expect to make too many gains. You're running a lot. The eating, usually, who knows if the eating is on par. That's something to look at. But the outside factor, she's got something else she's training for. And that's relative to if you got real high stress going on at your job or something. We have people all the time that come in high stress after work, and then they hear, 3-rep max day. And they're like, shit. Well,
yeah,
if you say that off the bat, if you're like, shit, on a 3-rep max day, that is not a good start whatsoever.
Nope.
You can't just pull that shit out of a bag, right? If it's 3-rep max day, you'd have to be thinking about that beforehand, getting your body prepared for whatever day that may be. But, understand, guys, you go in and out of the training motivation. It's not always there. But as long as you show up, put in the work, you'll be all right.
And just like, in life there are seasons. Sometimes there are training seasons too. Sometimes you're just going through a winter. Nothing's working out, but, on the other side is spring. Then there's the rebirth. Then you can crush it.
You're right. Every winter, granted, when those garage doors close, I know it's Arnie prep. That's kind of every year. So I get motivated for that. But training in the winter's tough, man. You got to wake up cold as hell. You can't wear your shorts without freezing your ass off. Everything's shut up. You're not getting much sunlight. You're already kind of depressed as it is. So it's tough. It's tough. But on the other side, again, you got spring, you got summer.
Now,
get outside a bit more.
Real quick, what is the silliest thing you did to amp yourself up for the gym?
Silliest thing?
Silliest thing. Because I'll tell you mine. I had a motivation playlist on YouTube. And during the summer in college, I would wake up at 8 o'clock, press play on the playlist, and for like 2 hours, like get all the chores and shit done, I would just listen to that playlist.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was a good time.
No, I've done that before. Back when I was more into bodybuilding.
I'm the exact same way.
Even before going to my basement, I'd have to watch a bunch of YouTube videos to hype myself up. And I'd sit there, sip my pre-workout. I think the big thing for me, I need to drive somewhere. So I'm used to driving a good 30, 40 minutes probably to get to the gym. I always had a struggle that, even with this garage gym here, back when I had a basement gym, I'm walking down the stairs. So there's no driving. There's no thinking about your training. You're just down there and you're ready to go. So I always like to be able to drive a good 30 minutes, sit my pre-workout, listen to a few tunes, and get my head in the gear there.
Get in zone, Chief.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I hope there were some good tips in this podcast for you guys. Find that deeper underlying meaning to your training. Sometimes you don't even think that deep, but whether it's motivation to do this for your family, to become a leader, like really, just like I brought up Brian, how he's got that shoulder going on. He wants to be looked at as someone who can overcome that and kind of be hope for other people. And those are all real deep things. Just having a meet coming up and wanting to do good just isn't enough. Granted, that gets you in the door, but why you doing what you're doing? Think about it. chew on that, sleep on that, and when you come up with a reason, that's going to give your training all new motivation.
And when the motivation isn't there, continue to show up.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing, because you don't want to go back and think, oh, I took a year off, I took 6 months off, and then you get to start all over from basically a square one.
Yeah, that's tough, and it's never a year and a half. I see guys come in after 10 years off.
Yeah.
And they know they're starting from scratch, so it's really tough. It's tough. That's why they waited so long. They know they're not going to be back to where they were.
Yeah.
So get the foot in the door. That's all there is to it. All right, guys. Like I said, check out the DVD is now online. 2 great products with that. The ebook comes with some programs in there. Plus, we got the video series. You're going to touch on the setup, the takeout, the press of the bench, everything. The bench clinic, chock full of information. So if you get your DVD, especially if you haven't made it to a clinic, this is your bird's eye view. Elvis did a great job getting around, filming all the angles. You're not going to miss a thing, guys. So check that out. We got plenty of them up for sale now. And like I said, great sale with that. All those products completely free. All right. You know what to do. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. I do go in and check, guys, all right? And I really appreciate it when you can throw up a review. So if you just listen to this, don't shake it off, please. Please set a reminder. Go into that that iTunes, and leave that review. Very much appreciated. Once it's done, but it really helps. And if you listen to this, I'd much appreciate it. And then on YouTube, make sure if you're not on YouTube, all our content's up there. Great stuff. Give us a subscribe. Follow at Big Benchas. We've been putting up some of that new IGTV, that new thing that came out. We've been putting up some stuff there. Did a little behind the scenes of this podcast, so you can check that out. And Small Arm Leg Strong. At Small Arm Leg Strong. Elvis Mendez. And guys, this has been the Benchcast.
Later.